What's up, Pro Flippers? On today's episode, we have a amazing guest. Josh, also known as Harry Tornado, is joining us today to give us a little look into his business and really get some tips about reselling. So Josh, thanks for jumping on here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hang out with you guys today and talk a little business.
Yeah, awesome. We're excited to have you. And so let's go ahead and dive right into some of your background on how you even got started in reselling. So you've been doing this for a while and then also sharing it for a while. So how did you bring us back to what even sparked this whole thing?
The reselling itself started because I needed money. I once very poor and I was like, reselling, that's cool. We'll try that out. Started watching YouTube videos about how to do it, started doing it. And then almost at the same time, I was already making YouTube videos about non-reselling related things. So then as my interest in reselling grew, I started making videos about it and it's just gone from there. So it started out of necessity and now it's just something really fun that we do full time now.
I love it. What about time frame? How long?
I sold my first thing on eBay on Halloween of 2018, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe I started my eBay store on Halloween. It maybe took a week or two to actually sell something. So that's been, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I actually started the YouTube channel about that same time, but we didn't start making reselling videos until February of 2019. So about 4 or 5 years on both of those.
Okay. Awesome.
Have you always been interested in YouTube media? Is that always something like video?
Yeah, I'm 32. So YouTube got really big when I was in high school. And of course, everybody was like, oh man, it'd be so great to be a YouTuber. It's crazy. This was like when there weren't many YouTubers. There was maybe a couple of hundred that were really big. And that just seemed like such a far-fetched out there idea. Nobody could ever do that for a full-time job. So it's something I've always been interested in. I just never thought it was actually doable. And finally I was like, let's just do it. This was 2018, 2019. Even at that time, it seemed like I was late to the game. But now everybody's going to say that every year. It's like, oh, it's too late. It's too late to do it. It's too late to do it. I promise it's not too late. It feels like it is, but I promise it's not.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we started on 2015, just a blog and that kind of stuff, sharing some stuff. And it's that seems so long ago, but yeah, it's still there's still so much to learn and so much to do. And yeah, there's still new platforms, new algorithms, new everything to share stuff. So it's pretty cool to dive into. So is your main platform that you're selling on now eBay?
Our main platform is Whatnot. We've been doing that for maybe about a year and a half now. Maybe not quite, maybe 14, 15 months. And it's been awesome. It's certainly not for everybody. You've got to have a way to get people to your show, whether that's an existing social media following or just being a really good salesperson. One of my favorite sellers on Whatnot is Chris, Flip the World Tech TX. He has made some YouTube videos in the past, but he didn't have this huge audience that follows him. He just is a really good seller. He consistently gets 80 to 120 people in his shows. And I think they've done $50,000 in sales on Whatnot just year to date. So obviously if you have a big YouTube channel, that helps a lot, but that's not necessary, but it's been really good for us. We've been very thankful. I don't know how we listed so much stuff on eBay over the last couple of years because, the listing part's not fun.
Right.
But now we're just able to move stuff, usually give people really good deals under market value. Makes it easier to sell the small stuff, like the $5, $10, $15 items. We can just, blow through those really quickly. And it's awesome.
Can you so we haven't really dove in.
Yeah, we haven't messed with Whatnot.
At all. It's not we sell bigger stuff. So it's not really our jam as much, but we're really interested to learn more about it. And we wanted to have somebody kind of explain how it works or if somebody wanted to get started, what would they have to do to start with Whatnot?
Yeah. So I believe that Whatnot still has you apply to be a seller. They don't want anybody to just sign up and start doing it. They want to make sure that you have a decent idea of what you're doing.
Right.
So it's been a while since we applied, but usually it's you apply and they ask if you have a social media following, which that usually helps your chances a little bit, but there are plenty of people in there selling now that don't have any social media at all. They just want to make sure you have a lot of items, the types of items you want to sell and the categories you'll be selling in. And it used to be really hard to get accepted, but nowadays I think they're opening up the floodgates on that a good bit. So a lot of sellers on there. It's very fast. And you don't even have to do auctions now. You can just list your stuff for sale, on a platform, like a set price. They've had that feature all along, but it hasn't really been good until about a month ago. So there are multiple ways to sell in there now, and it's pretty awesome.
Cool. What about the items that you're selling? What type of items? And I'm also curious about the fulfillment. Are you shipping stuff or people picking up stuff? How does that work?
We've always been everything sellers just because I mean, I don't know. We've done like golf clubs and shoes a lot in
Okay.
the past. Shoes have kind of died down a little bit for us lately, but it's just, I've never been the type of person to like not buy something if it was valuable just because it didn't fit into my category.
Okay.
Like that might be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. But if I see something worth $100 and I've never sold it before, I'll figure it out. I'm going to buy it and worry about that later. So when we sell and whatnot, you can choose your category for your shows. So most of our shows are in the garage sale category just because it's a little bit of everything. So our last show, we did Hot Wheels and Funko Pops and golf clubs and clothes and shoes, video games, jewelry, literally anything we can get our hands on.
Pretty much anything. Yeah. So, and how do you keep track of like, do you import all the inventory like before a show? Like you import all that?
So yeah. So we have one employee. Okay. Well, she's a independent contractor. Okay. If the IRS is listening, yeah. She comes to our house. She sets up all of our whatnot auctions. She ships everything. I forgot to answer that part of your question.
Okay.
She's awesome. We take care of her financially, and she takes care of us physically and emotionally and spiritually. And she's just awesome. Definitely the best money we've ever spent in our business was hiring her. But yeah, she does I mean, setting up a whatnot auction is pretty easy. We just take one picture of the item, so the customer has a good reference of what it is before the show starts. We have a reference of what it is when we go to ship it, just in case. Like our last auction, we sold like 100 Hot Wheel cars, so it's important to have a picture, so you can't go just by the title. It was just one picture, a title, and then you put in how much it weighs. And then when you do the show, that's when you actually show the item and show all the details and flaws, whatever. And the putting in the weight is how much whatnot knows to charge the buyer for shipping. So very easy. We can do our last show was 122 items, and I think it took us like 45 minutes to get everything listed in the show. Whereas I don't think I've listed 122 items on eBay in the last 2 years. Right. I mean, it takes forever.
It takes longer. So are you utilizing the buy it now feature, or are you mostly just
not really
right now?
Okay. We like the shows, like the live shows. We usually do 2 or 3 a week, and it's just fun. We usually get 200 to 300 people in a show, so the chat's going and people are asking questions and asking what we have, and it's just a really fun environment. It's more fun than just listing stuff for sale and having somebody buy it.
Right.
Cool. And it's forgive me, because we've never done one before. Is it like a live auction? So you're showing it, and then the people in the room that are in there, they're bidding against it, and whoever gets it, that's how it works. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. Yeah. You just kind of hold it up as you go. Like, oh, I got a little tripod here. You can start it. We do all of our auctions starting in $1 for 30 seconds. I think as bids come in, each bid adds like 5 or 6 seconds. So it's not, you can make it to where it doesn't do that, but we usually just default to that. So we'll start with 30 seconds. Sometimes they'll go for a minute or so, but either way, it's really fast paced. And then, the final bid wins it. And it also charges the buyer's card immediately. And you'll know in the show if the payment went through or not. So a lot of people used to do YouTube auctions where they just went live on YouTube and sold stuff via the chat on there. But then the bad part about that is you would have to invoice everybody after the show, and hopefully they would pay, Right. So it was just a lot of work. So whatnot, basically the same thing as a YouTube live auction, but they handle all the payments and shipping and everything. So it just makes it a little bit more of a streamlined process.
Any reserves? Do you ever do a reserve price or anything like that? Or do you just, whatever it goes for, it goes?
Yeah, not usually. I had a really cool duffel bag I found at the bins the other day. It was like made in Mexico, all brown leather, but it was like that really distressed looking leather, like an Indiana Jones duffel bag. And I was just like, I don't really want to sell this. So let's start the auction at like $30. And if nobody wants it, I'll just keep it. If somebody wants it, they'll get a good deal. So it went like 20 seconds with no bids. And then finally somebody bid $30 and it sold for 30. So I was good with that.
Dude, this sounds like so much fun. It's like almost addicting. We're going to have to try this. Absolutely.
So my friend Chris that I was talking about earlier, they actually go live from the Goodwill bins like 3 days a week. So they'll go to the bins when they open at like 8, and he and his wife will just find, 50 to 80 items. They'll list them in the bins, and then he'll set up a tripod with his phone and do an auction like right there. So they're going to the bins, finding the stuff, selling it, and then paying for it, and then going home to ship it. And I mean, they're probably averaging like $1,500 to $2,000 a show, and they're doing that 3 days a week.
Wow.
So he has no cost of goods. I mean, there's no risk. Like if he runs something and people don't buy it, he just throws it back in the bins.
Dude,
and it was so cool because he got kicked out of the bins for doing it recently because there was a new manager. And then he like wrote a letter or made a video or something for Goodwill Corporate and just explained to them like, hey, we're not filming anybody. We're just working. It's fine. And they were actually like, you know what? You're right. You can come back and film again. So now he has permission to do it.
Plus it's probably promoting the bins, which is pretty cool for other people. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now you're gonna go on Whatnot and
I was thinking for like our kids' toys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
have them do a show and stuff.
They have to be a certain age. That would be fun. No, that would be fun.
Anyways, that's exciting. That's pretty cool. That sounds like a mixture of. So, are you still selling anything on eBay, or is this the majority? Is Whatnot?
Yeah, we've our 90-day total is probably like $12,000 or so.
Okay.
So we have a few like higher end items. Like really, eBay is just for like the $50 and above items now.
Okay.
Just anything less than that, we just put on Whatnot. But like we've got a couple sets of golf clubs, listed for 150, $200 or so. We've got, I don't know, we're just very picky about what we want to list on eBay.
Yeah.
So obviously having a social media following helps when you're, trying to grow on Whatnot, but wouldn't most of the people who are following you, like say on YouTube, they're interested in learning how to resell. So would they necessarily be the people who are going to buy your stuff? Like I was just curious, the crossover. I guess there are a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so we've always made viewer sales. Like usually, like when we were only on eBay, we would make videos and we'd get comments and emails and Instagram DMs from people wanting to buy the stuff we found. So, and even when we were just eBay sellers, still probably like 30, then maybe even 40% of our eBay sales went to viewers anyway. So Whatnot hasn't really changed that. It's just made it easier. Now we don't have to list stuff. We don't have to, individually PayPal invoice people and deal with all that stuff. So it's definitely helped a little bit. And it just like the viewers just, I don't know. So like Whatnot gives you $15 to use when you first sign up. So our last auction was, like I said, a bunch of Hot Wheels and Funkos, and almost all of those went for like $8 to $15 or so. So we had a lot of first-time buyers that were just basically getting the items for free. They just had to pay for shipping. So that's like the more expensive stuff that takes a particular buyer. That's what goes on eBay and sells to strangers. And then all the random cool stuff we find that is worth $5 to $20, we just put on Whatnot. And most of it is bought by viewers. Occasionally we find people on Whatnot that don't know who we are. They just see that we have a big show and they come and buy stuff. And then later on they find out who we are. But yeah, like I said, it hasn't really changed anything. We've always had a big interest from our viewers about wanting to buy the stuff we find.
What about any special promotions before you do a live show? Do you do anything special to get more people to that show?
Just a social shout or?
Not really. I mean, sometimes, so like in 2 videos ago, we went to the flea market and bought like $700 worth of stuff. And then that one, I was like, hey, we're going to sell all this on Whatnot. Everything starts at $1. Show will be this Sunday night. So that show was really good. We had, I don't know, 500 or 600 people in there, and that went over really well. But usually we just do shows during the week, like a Tuesday or Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And, we've got a lot of regulars, people that buy from us all the time. I'm sure if we did shows at night, we'd get more people because people are working and stuff like that. But I'd rather just do in the daytime, working hours, less people get better deals. It just seems to be a win-win situation for everybody.
That's cool.
Yeah, we do some calls at night sometimes, and I'm like, I think we need to move towards the day because more people are available at night. We do enjoy talking to as many people as we can, but then sometimes you're like, okay, I'm tired now. I'm getting older.
I used to do the coaching calls and stuff. I'm sure is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I did those for maybe 2 or 3 months, like 3 years ago, and it just got to a point like. It's so funny because people would pay. I wasn't charging a lot. I was charging like $40 for like a 30-minute phone call, but it would be like people calling to get help, but then they would just talk the whole time, and I wouldn't have a chance to like help them. They were just like excited to talk to me. So I got to point. I just felt bad for charging for it. So we just had to. I mean, nothing against that. It just got to a point where, for it to be worth my time to like listen to somebody talk for 30 minutes, I would have to charge so much.
Right.
I wouldn't be comfortable doing that. I'm like, if you want to talk to us, just come to our Whatnot auctions. I'll talk to you.
There you go. That works.
That's awesome.
I was going to ask, talking about, valuing your time. It's a hard transition to hire someone, or to, outsource some stuff. So at what point were you like, okay, we need help? Like, how did you make that transition? Was it easy? Was it difficult?
No. It was super difficult. I hired Kim, our helper, very part-time, maybe like 2.5 years ago. And she came over to the house and did some listing and shipping for a couple weeks. And then it was just like, I didn't have enough stuff for her to do at the time. Most people hire too early. So I would just be cautious when you hire. But if it gets to a point where we're spending, 4 or 5 hours of a day after Whatnot auction shipping, I can just hire that out. Like my time is spent much better making more YouTube videos than shipping out stuff. And shipping's pretty easy. So we hired Kim at maybe like 8 or 9 months ago. And that's when she really really was, I mean, she does eBay listing for us too, but it's very seldom. Usually it's just setting up auctions and shipping auctions, and that keeps her busy 20 to 25 hours a week, which is what she wanted.
Right.
But the whole process of finding someone and then hiring them and figuring out what's the best use of their time for the money you're spending, because obviously you have to make,
right,
you have to bring in more revenue than it's costing to have them. That's the whole point of an employee. So figuring out that balance and what works for both of you is very difficult. And it's also difficult from like a business standpoint, like understanding an employee versus a contractor and the tax implications and payroll taxes. And it's a lot. But once you get to a certain point in business, it's just a necessary evil, because you can only grow so much without making that jump.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think because at one point, I mean, we have a couple of VAs that help us with the online portion of our business, but the flipping part of our business is you've been wanting to hire somebody and now you're like, oh, I really need to do it. But then, it just, I don't know. It's like time, and
it is training them, having them do the right thing and making sure that you're still making enough money.
And then you still have it in the back of your head, like, oh, well, nobody can do it as good as me. And you have to get rid of that, you of course.
That was ours too. It's especially if you built the business yourself, it's difficult to give over control of that, because like, she could make a mistake, or he could make a mistake or whatever. And they're going to make mistakes. Like, absolutely. It's fine. It's part of it. But overall, the time you save hiring somebody once they're trained and doing the job is going to be worth a couple of mistakes here and there. Like, it's invaluable to be able to just like hand that big portion of the business off and just let somebody else worry about it.
I don't think people value their time enough.
Absolutely.
Like, your time
They really don't.
Yeah.
I used to be that person. I would find something. I'd find like a purse or a pair of shoes or something that would sell for like $25, like a pair of white Vans. And I would spend like an hour trying to clean them and get them whiter. And it wouldn't really work. And then they'd sell for $20. I'm like, I paid $6.50 for the shoes, and I spent like an hour, maybe even an hour and a half trying to clean them. And even if I got them clean,
right,
I just spent an hour and a half to make $17. Like, it's just, learning how to value your time and learning where your time is best spent is probably one of the most important things in running a business.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would definitely have to agree with that.
Well, I'm curious. So switch directions a little bit. Now you're doing something. Melissa played me a video of you with a renovation house or a rental house that you're working on the renovations. Explain kind of the process, because this is really exciting. This is really cool to me, kind of what you guys are doing here.
We had thought about paying off our old house. So we still own our old house that we lived in. We're renting that to Haley's sister. We have our house that we're in now. And then we had some extra money after we paid our taxes and everything last year. And we were flirting with the idea of either paying off our first house or buying a second house that we could rent. And just from a rental standpoint, like, even if we pay cash for the house, we're bringing in $1,500 a month in rent. Like, that amount of money per month is not really worth the risk. Like, of investing. We paid $155,000 for the house. So putting up that capital to get $1,500 a month, it's not that big of a deal. But that was like, what if we incorporate YouTube into it somehow? So we bought the house for cash, and then we're just trying to renovate it for $20 out of pocket. So it started with, took $20 to the Goodwill bins, bought some stuff, sold it in a whatnot auction, made like, I don't know, $250 or so, and then took a little bit more money, more stuff, sold it again. And then we used the first $400 or $500 to rent the dumpster, and Haley and I did the demo ourselves. So we've just been slowly tackling the house projects one at a time and trying to pay for them as we go. Like, as we have new needs, we get the budget, we find the stuff, sell it, and pay for it. So we've done, I don't know, we did the whole demo. I've rebuilt the bathroom subfloor. I redid all the plumbing in the whole house. You have the drywall being installed right now. So it's been fun, because we're still only $20 out of pocket. Right. I mean, we probably spent, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000, but it's all come from flipping stuff from that original $20 investment.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, you love it, real estate too.
I do. So. I love real estate, but I love the idea of snowballing your investment too, starting with $20 and getting up to $5,000. Yeah, that's exciting. That's
it. Really, just gives us like a goal in the videos, because so for the longest time, our videos were just like, oh, we got a bunch of stuff and we sold it and made a bunch of money. And that was it. And I'm just like, I mean, it's cool, but at some point people need like a story to follow along with. So like, some people weren't really interested in it. And when we first started, because they're like, if I want to watch house flipping, I'll just go watch TV. I'm like, well, this is cool. Trust me. I promise. So now those people are still like, we get comments all the time. Like, I didn't think I'd like this, but I'm really following along and really liking the progress you guys are making. I will say, if you document yourself doing house renovations, you're going to get comments about all the stuff you're doing wrong. Like today is like, why'd you put that hose through the baseboard? Why drywall? You need 2 coats of mud, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, it's fine. It's fine. We're good.
We're going to pass inspection. We're going to be okay.
That's awesome.
This one guy, I was hanging drywall and we hung it like horizontally. I've literally watched like 30 YouTube videos about hanging drywall. Hang it horizontally. Our contractor said to hang it horizontally. The guys that are hanging it, professional drywall people, they're hanging it horizontally. And this guy was like, never hang drywall horizontally. I'm like, you're the only person in the universe that
I've watched a whole bunch.
So it's you versus all of these people. So I don't know.
That's great.
You got to get past that, but it's been fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say we started doing a couple like finding items and flipping them into vacations. Like that's what we're kind of working on. And I'm like, that's more responsible to do rental houses. We should probably not focus on vacation.
Versus blowing money for our flips. So, but
it's fun.
Just having anything to like have that goal, you know, of like we're going on vacation, we're going to buy a rental property, we're going to do whatever. Just having something other than just we made a bunch of money and that's it. See you in the next video.
Right.
It just gives people another reason to follow along and invest in you as a personality on the internet.
Yeah.
That's
really
cool.
Yeah. Stories are awesome. And it's something that you can do. It's totally doable because you're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I did have a question about your chest cam. Do people tell you like, go away, don't record? Like what do you get? What are your responses that you get with that?
It honestly hasn't really happened very much. I mean, people ask about it, but nobody's ever asked us to stop recording. There's a new manager at our Goodwill bins that like, she didn't tell us to stop, but she was just like, y'all aren't supposed to have those in here. I'm like, oh, well, we do all the time. Is that okay? And she was just like, she just got mad, but it felt like she, like maybe Goodwill corporate tells her to like chill out about it, but she doesn't personally like it. Because anytime she sees us, she like makes a face or whatever. But we just try not to film her. We try not to get people's faces on camera as well. Helps a lot. And we don't want to lose any filming privileges, especially at the Goodwill bins, because we go there so often. So we're not trying to make any enemies.
Yeah.
So we don't get faces. That we did have one video one time where it was like a flea market seller, and she didn't do anything wrong. Just her prices were really high. She was asking over eBay for like a bunch of plush and video game stuff. And like a month after the video went live, she like commented on it, and she was like, in all caps, like, I'm the person from this video. This is so embarrassing. Why would you do this to me? And it was all like individual comments. I'm like, your comments are more embarrassing than you in the video. Please stop.
Nobody would even know it's you.
And I'm like, it wasn't anything negative. She had a Pikachu Game Boy Color or whatever. And they're like, I don't know, $80 on Amazon, on eBay. And she was asking like 120. And I even offered her 100, which is $20 over eBay. And she said no. And in the video, I was just like, it seems a little ridiculous, but I wish her the best of luck. So I don't know why she thought it was so boring, but she was just going on and on. And I took that video down just out of respect. I didn't have to, because the flea market's, you know, you're in public and you can film whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But again, we're not trying to make any enemies. So
yeah. No, I agree.
Cool. Well, Josh, we definitely want to be respectful of your time.
Talk about the...
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So
I'm not in any rush. Whatever.
No, I was going to definitely say, let everybody know where they can find you on YouTube, but also...
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Okay, go ahead.
But we also are very curious about your event you have coming up towards the end of this year. Please let us know what's going on and how people can find out more about that event.
Yes, so on Instagram and YouTube, Harry Tornado, HAIRY Tornado. Should come up. I feel like we've worked on our SEO recently, so even if you misspell something, it should still pop up. And then this is our second event. Last year we started FlipCon. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it went really well. It was me and Caleb, Phoenix Resale. Didn't know what we were doing, but it worked out really well. Everybody had a great time, so we're going to do it again this year. Caleb is not as hands-on this year, but he's still going to be there. It's really exciting. It's an in-person reseller networking event. We're going to have all sorts of different speakers from like YouTube resellers. We've got us, me and Haley. We've got Retro Rick's going to be there. We've got Caleb Phoenix Resale, Hustle at Home Mom and her husband TJ. Just a lot of people. It's all on the website. Chaz, Hustle and Hooks, Side Hustle Network. It's all sorts of people. So it's 2.5 days, Charlotte, North Carolina. All your meals are included. It's a pretty all-inclusive event, and it should be really fun. Last year was only a day and a half, and the only complaint we got mostly was that it wasn't long enough.
No, it's too
so
short.
To have people, fly into town and get a hotel, figure might just do it 2.5 days.
What was the date again?
That is going to be August. I think it's the 9th 9th
Cool.
through the
We'll put a link
through the
below.
12th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's August 9th through the 12th. It's like
Okay.
the first Wednesday in August, I believe. Or I don't know. Something like that. They'll put it in the link down below.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I was gonna say there's something like about getting together in person. Like online is great, and it's a pretty cool. You get to meet a lot of cool people online, from the convenience of your house. But we love live events.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just make so much deeper connections with people and get to know people, and it's super cool. So I think that's awesome.
That's definitely the big value. We went to this YouTube conference in Los Angeles. We've been twice. It's called Vid Summit, and I think tickets to that are like $1,200 or something, but a virtual ticket, so you can get all the speakers, virtual tickets are like $200.
Yeah.
So that tells you, and it's always like that. Like the in-person tickets are so expensive. The virtual is cheap because it's not really about the speakers and the learning stuff. It's about being there and like being able to just talk to people. Like people talk so much last year. It was like a Thursday and Friday or Wednesday and Thursday last year, something like that. And it was supposed to end at like 11 p.m. And I went to bed at like 3 a.m. and there were still like 50 people just hanging out, drinking, talking, having a good time, networking.
Yeah.
It was just really fun.
That's awesome.
You just get that extra connection in person. And I don't know, I love in-person meetings and stuff. And so like when you were creating this whole thing, was it like after you did it, like you set it out in the world, you're like, this is a lot. This is going to be a lot more than I thought. Yeah. Or how was it?
I don't know. It's just intimidating because you're like in charge, like your name is on it. So if anything goes terrible, people are going to think you're responsible. And it's also a big risk because like our event's at a hotel. And when you book a hotel for an event, they make you sign a contract that like basically you're on the hook for a certain percent of food and beverage and rooms. So if anything happens and you end up not selling tickets, I think this year it's like $48,000 is the guarantee. Wow. So like I'm legally obligated to pay $48,000. So we better be able to sell some tickets and put on a good event. So it's the same as any business. You know, you take on the risk, and if it works, you might make some money. If it doesn't work, hopefully you didn't come out too in the negative and you can move on to something else.
So if somebody was interested in going to the event, would it cover like stuff about reselling or stuff about growing on social media? I think you said both, or a little bit of everything?
Yeah, it's a little bit about both. So like we've got Hustle at Home Mom. She's pretty big on YouTube. she and her husband are going to be talking about kind of YouTube and reselling and a family. She's got 3 kids now, and like how you kind of balance all that. There's a couple speakers that are just talking about like general topics for being a better human. So we've got my friend Tiffany talking about her debt-free journey, how she's using reselling to pay off all of her debt. We've got Chaz from Side Hustle Network talking about how to balance being a business owner with like working on your physical health and like making sure that doesn't fall. A lot of reselling in general is a very sedentary lifestyle. So it's easy to kind of let your health fall down the wayside. A little bit about that, but I'd say it's probably like 60% reselling and like running a reselling business, and probably like 40% other and or YouTube and social media.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
Really cool.
We need to check about the kids' school schedule. That was the thing I was going to look at, their school schedule.
Yeah. Last year it was like the last week in August, and we had a lot of people say they couldn't come because of school. Yeah. So this week we made it. There's like some big yard sale. This the first weekend in August, like the
127 yard sale.
127 sale. So it's the week after the 127 sale. So I'm like, all right,
we got
go to the yard sale, and your kids can go to school, and right in the middle of those two things, you can come to Flip.
That's perfect.
If you want tickets, you can go to flipcon.net. Tickets are $329, and that includes 5 meals, giveaways, all the speakers, 2.5 days, a lot of free stuff, after party, a couple of drinks. So yeah, it's all. You just got to get there and get your hotel. Everything else is covered.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. And we will have links below that you guys can jump in and register for that, sign up for it, that kind of stuff. So Josh, thank you so much for jumping on here and chatting with us. This has been so much fun.
You're going to go try Whatnot.
Whatnot is in the near future for myself and the kids. I'm so excited about that. So
go try it out.
Cool. Josh, you rock. Thank you so much again for jumping on here.
Absolutely.